In this segment, I'd like to talk about push-ups and different options and variations you can do using the reformer. Now, a lot of standard classes that I do, we're using the foot bar. So we're going to go over that real quick and discuss the options when you have the infinity foot bar. So I will oftentimes take the carriage, push it out, and I'll do my foot bar push-ups here. So that is a nice option. You can do underhand, and you've seen in some of my videos that have chest that are tagged the chest exercises or upper body. You're going to see that I do that quite a bit. There's some wonderful options with rotation, so you can do a regular push-up and add rotation, push-up, rotation. So the standard exercises I use when I do foot bar push-ups are wide, underhand narrow, one wide overhand, one narrow underhand, and then switch. So you can do diamond push-ups, which are hands together as well. And you just need to make sure it feels right for your students. So that's the basic foot bar push-up option, feet on the floor. Then you have the option of doing toes on the bed with or without springs. So if you're going to do it without springs, I will just always make sure that I'm in that position first. I always like to start with the end in mind. And for my ladies, I need to make sure they're safe so they're not hurting themselves. So keep one foot on the ground at all times if you're going to do this version. If not, you bring yourself up and you do that version with both toes on the bed. Now you can do it with the carriage closed as well. And I know I'm covering this real quick, so you may need to watch this a few times just to see all the different options you have for push-ups. I'm going to do a series for this month, depending on when you watch it. But this month's series is going to be pick one body part and show you multiple ways you can do that. And today it's push-ups. Then I'm going to show biceps and back, and then a leg day. So one spring on, feet up against shoulder rest, showing you the different hand positions you have. One under, one over. Always doing your best to get full chest contact on those push-ups. So that's with springs. On feet against shoulder rest, springs off, feet either on the ground or on the carriage. If you want to even go higher, that's when you'll do it with toes on the box. So by progressing yourself up, and there's quite a few different ways you can progress your class and your students. If you have the infinity foot bar, I may have my students start on the floor. Let me just get this set up for the next portion. And I'll have them do 10 with the bar vertical, 10 with the bar down. Let me get this out of the way. And just keep dropping it, doing one rep each until they're all the way down. That's an option you can have by laddering your range of motion. You can also do it by starting with feet on the ground, toes on the carriage, and then finish with toes on the box. If you have students in the class that you can do a decline push-up, they have that coordination, the control, the core control, the spine organization. I mean, it takes a lot to do a good quality decline push-up. Toes on the bed, hands on the foot bar, lowered. So as you start getting more strength, you can ladder toes on the box and do vertical, horizontal foot bar. So when I talk about chest strength, I want it to be understood, and any of my tutorials where I'm teaching either variations like today or showing you different modifications for strength or just simply teaching you method-based movement. I want you to understand that the quality of movement is more important than your strength, always. I will say in any of my athletic classes or tutorials, if the energy output is greater on the extremities than it is in your core and spine organization, it's too heavy. So if I can do push-ups, toes on the floor, and my student next to me can do push-ups, well organized, toes on the bed, but then I go and do it on the bed and I lose my organization and my quality of control, I go back to the ground. Now, for my female clients that are just starting to build upper body strength, and I don't tell one person they need to develop muscular strength here and the other one there. I want everybody to be doing it together. Now, you may need to modify even the floor, toes on the floor, feet, hands on the foot bar push-up. So if this is too much to do full range, and what I will never want to see is half reps. I don't ever want to train the body where I'm always doing my push-ups here because that's the only strength I have. I want full range. So that may require me to take one foot in front of me and use that foot to spot to get the chest to the bar. So if I'm doing bicep curls and the weight's too heavy and this is as far as I can go, I don't stay there with a heavy dumbbell and only doing a quarter of the work. Same thing with push-ups. I do not want quarter or half reps when I'm doing push-ups. I need to get myself successful to full range. So let's say toes on the ground, I can do full range. Toes on the carriage, I can do full range. But let's say I get up toes on the bar and I'm not able to get full range. I need to work the strength with toes on the carriage before I go up. Now, if I say I'm able to go up, but I start lowering the foot bar down and that's where I lose that organization, then I need to find that range where I'm maxed out at. This is if you're doing athletic work, because progressive, traditional, classical Pilates isn't about building strength. Strength building comes from multiple reps, working at your max in which you're well organized. There are some types of Pilates that do athletic work on the reformer, and their primary focus is to take you to fatigue and beyond. I disagree. And I also do not agree to take it to slow reps and just work at slow counts. Because quite honestly, that isn't real life. When you ever moving slow motion all the time. Yes, that burns like crazy, but that does not develop functional strength for everyday activity. So with my athletic approach, I want to make sure we're moving at a normal range of pace. Not that I'm going to take something down in a stretch and hold and relax and do slow reps when we're doing the exercise, whether it's strength or not, but it's not a constant. The whole class isn't slow reps. So beyond finding that strength level where you can remain organized well, you can still breathe properly. I want you to always challenge yourself but not take it too far. That's what I really want to convey here. Challenge yourself when you're doing athletic exercises, but don't take it too far. But also, with that said, don't stay too easy. So if you're doing your foot bar push-ups and this is where you started, and month 3, you're able to go to here, but you say, hey, I can't take myself up to toes on the bar. That's too much. But I can do toes on the ground. Then that's where I want you to see yourself lowering the foot bar, getting closer that way versus just hopping your toes up. All right. So that's what I want to talk mostly about foot bar push-ups. You can do platform push-ups here. The challenge with that is your hand position is limited. And if you are a guy with broader shoulders, you got to go to the gray strip. So if you're going to program something in where it's going to be hands narrow, you can do platform push-ups, diamond push-up. This one here, got it? You can do tricep push-up. But beyond that, I would just do foot bar or find another variation. So covering foot bar push-ups, going quickly over platform push-ups, toes on push-ups on the carriage and toes on the box. So they're all wonderful options for push-ups. Now, before we do it to the back of the reformer, we're going to go to the center of the reformer. Now, spring on, I'm just going to throw a red on. I'm going to show you the hand positions. Now, I like to go to full range, which means my hands are touching, and I like to go beyond a little bit. And I'll show you how you can do that and get a little bit greater range of motion in the shoulders. So here's your typical hands wide. And again, I'm on the clinical reformer or the 18-inch, so I'm at quite the incline, so it's not a big challenge for me here. I love doing this in a lot of my classes as a warm-up. You can do different hand positions, one forward, one back. You can do hands together. You can do hands wide. You can even take the headrest down and do super wide push-ups. There's a lot of different options. Now, you want to add a degree of instability. You move the carriage center without a spring and put your hands on wide, and you can add push-ups here, 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 here. You can change your hand position. Now, you can do that open and close. Now, sometimes I'll start my clients with the carriage closed, and I'll do hands here, hands, narrow, super wide. Then I'll take them out, no springs, and I'll offer that. But if you get a student into this position or yourself, and you take the springs off and you're all over the place, then you really need to bring yourself back down and go back to closed. Now, if you're wanting to challenge a load on your body when you're doing your push-ups, you put a yellow spring on, you walk out about a foot, and you do push-ups without it closing. If you find that that's still easy, find a position where you're pulled out, really organized, and not losing your straight, nice spine, and do push-ups with resistance. It is limitless what you can do with push-ups. And what I want to convey by doing this segment is to let you know you can do chest workout once a week for an entire year and never repeat the same class twice. There's so many options. And I hope that the video tutorials help you see the possibilities that you can do with just one exercise, chest push-ups, okay? So now we've gone over carriage closed, side push-ups on the carriage, no springs, and then loaded a yellow spring pushing out to challenge yourself. No, I've done it where I've gotten some clients all the way to the back of the machine on a yellow. It's not that hard. So if you have students that can control their push-ups and they can go on a blue and go out, that's what you do. But just make sure they're not going offline. If you need to widen your feet and go out more to challenge yourself, you do your push-ups there. Just make sure if you're doing a spring and you're walking yourself out, you've got to do it both sides. So we're loading one side, 10 reps, go to the other side. I'll show you. Push out and do it there. So you're working the same strength on both sides. If you're not doing springs, you can keep your class or yourself all on one side. Now, to go over range of motion, you can grab a set of yoga blocks, which I love to do this. And my students always say I feel my chest 10 times more for a week when I do my push-ups with Yoga Block. Same rule applies whether I'm closed, whether I'm open unstable, or whether I'm open with a load. Here's what it goes. I'll show you real quick. Also, too, if you have slippery Yoga Blocks, please put a grip pad underneath. If you don't and they're secure enough, then you do your push-ups neutral here. One staggered in front, one staggered in back. Switch. Hands together. Super wide. There's a lot you can do there. Now, if you say, I want to go through that range of motion, but I don't have the strength, put your box on. Because of the incline, those Yoga Blocks are going to slide even more. So you'll want to grab a set of grippies, put them on. Because with this incline, it's very easy to push those Yoga Blocks off. So get yourself set. Always start with the end in mind. So I've got my chest touching, hands are on, and press it up. All right, so there's your standard. Staggered, one forward, one back. Switching. Together. Same rule applies. Let's say I'm doing this and I can't get full range. Put one foot underneath you, as I showed you with that push-up on the foot bar. So in this position, I would just simply bring one leg forward, and I'll show you camera side to reiterate what I'm talking about. So let's say I lack the strength to do this. Always put one foot under just to help spot you for that position. And then because I don't have the shoulder rest for the wide, you just do as wide as your Yoga Blocks will go and up. Same thing with, without, or loaded and open. Just remember, with loaded open, you may not be able to go heavy on this position because I don't want the Yoga Block sliding. So there we've covered foot bar options, push-ups from the side options. Now we're going to do the push-ups from the back with it on the carriage and then with it off the carriage. So here, instead of taking the time, because I wanted to keep this segment 20 minutes and we've only got a couple minutes left, but here is your basic push-ups. If somebody's legs are hitting, just pull it back a little bit more. So there it is. If I have a student that has the strength to pull the carriage away and do their push-ups there, that's like super challenging. Anybody with rotator cuff injury or inability to stay organized, you do not want to do destabilize there. So you can do it here with it rested against the back, all those different hand positions. Do it. You can do it on the carriage without the box. So if you're going to do it on the carriage without the box, here it is with no blocks, toes on the ground, no blocks, toes on the gray strip or the extended platform. So there's some options there. Whether you're going to do box or no box, you have the options. Now, again, as we did before with the hands on the foot bar, toes on the box, the long box, that advanced variation, and even declining it, same rule applies. You can progress your students and say, hey, students, let's all do our 10 push-ups here. For those who can do 10 push-ups without it rested, let's do it there. For those of you who can do it on the gray strip platform or on the foot bar, you can also do it there. I would probably recommend putting the foot bar a little lower if you're going to do a decline, and also decrease the reps. So when I'm going to do that, I may have a student do 1 or 2 reps. That's it. Hands on the carriage, toes on the bar. Now, I've shown you so many different variations that I actually feel like I'm getting a chest workout over this 20 minutes. I don't know, maybe I've done like 50 push-ups. Maybe not that much. So that is carriage, short box, with or without yoga blocks. Here is long box, hands on, stagger 1 forward, switch, together. The only one you can't do with short long box is wide. So there's some wonderful options there. And last but not least, I'm going to show you with it on the frame, short box frame push-ups. So you by now should know all the different hand options with the yoga blocks or without. Here it is kneeling, stable. Start with the end in mind. Walk yourself out until you're in a plank. So I don't want to be doing my push-ups in that position. And then press up. It takes a lot of control not to move the carriage. So we're going to really find our students that are pushing forward instead of pushing up. So a lot of people can hurt themselves and do shoulders wrong and inefficient when they're doing that. That really strains my shoulders. So if I really want to work good control, I've got to lift up and maintain that box against. That's very advanced for a lot of students. Last but not least, with or without yoga blocks, advanced push-ups here would be there. Adding a leg lift. All right, so in a nutshell, tons and tons of options when you're doing push-ups with or without the yoga block, whether the toes are on the ground, on the bar, on the carriage, on the box, facing forward, facing back, or facing in. Last but not least, toes on the carriage, hands on the floor. And I'll show you that as the last one. I've done this with yoga blocks, but I've also taken my large octagonal dumbbells, if you have those, put a pad on that, and did my decline push-ups there. So here's your decline push-ups on the floor. Knowing you have all those different options. Be sure to leave me a comment if you try any of these and something doesn't feel right. I would love, the more comments and feedback I get from you, the better I can program exercises and tutorials and variation clips to things you need and you want. Remember, this website is about you guys. It's about me helping you, whether we're working out together or where we're learning together. Your comments are priceless. If you have a reformer, and I just had somebody do this and I loved it, that's what I want to share with you, send me a video clip, email, or send me a link to the video clip and say, hey, I did this exercise. I'm not really sure what I did wrong. I'm happy to address that. Eventually, when I get everything going, I will have a once a month Q&A where I take all your questions and I answer them. And I will call names out if you want. Just say, hey, I'm okay with you saying, hey, Joni or Elizabeth or whatever, this is a question for you. So I'm going to answer them online, but I need to know what your questions are, and video clips help me tremendously. If you say I found something that either worked and I wanted to share it with the rest of the community here on the website, or I have a question about what's not working. with my reformer. Thanks so much for joining me today, and look forward to more clips on picking a muscle group or a exercise type and show you the different options and variations to do them.